Hey, hey! I Am C-3PO by Anthony Daniels. It's a really good book and a good look inside what it's like being C-3PO. As somebody who cosplays as C-3PO a few times, I wanted to give my impressions. Hello, I am C-3PO. No, not that kind of impression. I wanted to give an impression of the book, kind of a review. Yeah, probably review would be the better term for what you would call it. It's a very chronological view, starting from his first experiences getting into acting and getting called to come audition for C-3PO, hearing about the story, that whole, starting with A New Hope, going all the way through to The Last Jedi, and everything in between. And it's really a lot of in-depth stories. It's not a real heavy narrative. It's pretty much just memoir, or just, hey, here's a fun story, or here's something I remember of how it went. A very, very first person. Yeah, no real kind of outside narrative, just much like a journal, or if he was just sitting across the room from you, talking to you about what it was like going back. Some of these stories I've kind of heard before in various interviews, but it's a real great compilation of that. It has some really great pictures from different times throughout the saga. Pictures from early on and later, and little memorabilia things like C-3PO Lego and Pez dispensers and stuff. So real great pictures that are referenced in the story, although I kind of wish when you were reading they would tell you that there's a photo of this thing he's talking about over on this other page, because then you would come across it later and say, oh, I bet that was that thing. And it might make more sense if you could look at it in the moment. There's a lot of stuff that I can identify with in this, dressing up as C-3PO. A lot of the early stuff about being uncomfortable and, where things pinch, and just, how hard it is to see, and all of that. So definitely identify with it. Good to know that this suit isn't somehow way worse than the suit that he wore, at least the initial one. Later it sounds like he got a much more comfortable suit that he could put on much quicker, and the head could go on and off. And so I definitely want to think about those things and maybe do some modifications to make mine easier to get in and out of. I have heard before that Anthony Daniels was kind of mean, especially during the first couple of movies, and he just didn't have a really good reputation. I can say from personal experience meeting him and everything I've seen him do in the past 2 decades maybe, has been much more positive. Doesn't seem like a mean guy at all. Very nice, very welcoming to fans. What's interesting is you can kind of see that in the book. He's very self-aware of that, and he talks about how he had a bad attitude about things, and he gives you some of the reasons why. Initially, even while they were filming the first movie, some people forgot that he was in there, and they would just kind of leave him there as if he was a prop. And so you have to say, yeah, it hurt a little bit. And then some of the drama around the promotions of the first movie, I don't want to spoil it too much. He didn't feel like he was treated very well with that first movie's promotion. And so you can understand why he might be a little upset. And he is honest about some of that resentment that he had. You definitely see his personal journey through accepting it and really embracing the C-3PO role and the fans and just the whole universe there, of like how society has treated it, and how it's one of the most iconic characters that exists in film, and everybody knows him. And C-3PO, they don't all know Anthony Daniels. And so I think that's kind of the hard thing, is that everyone knew Han Solo, and then they also knew Harrison Ford because they could see him, and so he became famous. But Anthony Daniels never got quite that level of fame, even though the character he played was just as, or maybe even more well known in a lot of ways. Certainly more iconic in his look. So it's a really good book, and I would encourage you to pick it up if you have ever wanted to see Star Wars through one of the actors' views, and he's been in basically every Star Wars movie that's come out, and so he has, you know, obviously not major roles in all of them, but he has had experience with them, and so it's just really neat to see it from his perspective. It'd be great if there was a, I am Luke Skywalker, I am Leia Organa, and I am Han Solo, and all those. I don't think those actors are ever going to put together this kind of book because they're not really iconically known for this one role. They have, you know, lots of roles. I think that it's really neat. Lots of really fun stories that I don't know that he's ever told in any other format, and great pictures. Always wish there were more of those. He can't really do a sequel to this, but I would definitely like to hear more about this. I'll have to ask him about some of the things that I read in here and maybe ask for a little more detail, because you know he's still leaving some stuff out. He definitely gets through some things so fast. You're like, there must be more to that story. But really good, and I would encourage you to pick it up if you're a big Star Wars fan, and especially if you're a big C-3PO fan, which I guess I am. I suppose. Maybe just a little. Anyway, stay safe, stay cool. What are your questions about C-3PO for somebody who actually wears it? I will respond to them if I can. Leave a comment down below, or question, comment, all that good stuff. Stay safe, stay cool, and have a good one. When you're reading the story, that there's a photo of this on, you know, page so and so or whatever. So anyway, and all of those no, I had always heard, but you definitely see his. I could definitely see some more detail. I'd definitely like some more detail